Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2023 or Pokemon Horizons the series anime episode review. This time I am talking about episode 14, so let's get to it. The episode begins with Dot trying to fix the Brave Asagi's operating systems. However, she is unsuccessful because nothing she tries works. She ultimately determines that there is nothing she can do. Friede has the idea to depart without fixing anything, since the mechanical systems of the airship work independently from the data-based ones. But Dot berates him. She is against doing this, due to the fact that it would be unsafe and ineffective. Considering that Roy is not back yet, Murdoch tells Dot that there is no need to rush. She shouldn't stress herself out. He then tells Liko that they should go shopping. Friede meanwhile heads up to the deck with Charizard, since Noctowl spotted something suspicious. Namely, the group of Magneton that is to blame for the issue plaguing the airship. Charizard uses Flamethrower to make them scatter. This resolves the issue. A lone Magneton then flies away, catching the attention of Friede. Meanwhile, Roy continues to search for Wattrel. He soon finds it on a nearby rock. Roy watches it closely, which allows him to realize that it is indeed not with its flock who can fly unlike it. However, his bird watching is interrupted when Fuecoco approaches a berry tree, scaring a trio of Combi in the process, which makes their queen chase Fuecoco. Roy soon joins the chase, as does Wattrel. This hilariously goes on for a while, turning into a Scooby-Doo affair. The chase ends when Roy and Fuecoco unintentionally fall into a lake, much to Fuecoco's dismay. Wattrel, who avoided the fall, soon reveals that it seems to fear heights. Roy tries to talk to Wattrel, who soon assumes a battle stance, believing that Roy is here to fight. Roy diffuses the situation with an orange berry. Roy wonders why Wattrel won't fly, but it replies by taking a flying stance. This makes Roy leap into the lake to show it how it's done, much to the shock of both Pokemon. Roy invites Wattrel to jump in as well, but just looking down from this height makes Wattrel turn blue with fear, showing that it is indeed afraid of heights, or of flying in general. Meanwhile, Liko and Murdoch are in the middle of their shopping trip. However, Murdoch reveals that this was just an excuse to talk to Liko in private, since he wants to thank her for giving Dot the chance to enjoy a picnic. He wants Liko to continue being friends with Dot. Liko is glad to do so, especially since Dot is a fellow Needlething fan. She adds that she should be thankful too, since Dot gave her the courage to choose her path. Liko then reveals that she is worried about the fact that they are stranded, but Murdoch reassures her, saying that they are used to overcoming adversity, so they will surely be alright. They then decide to have some ice cream so that their trip is not completely in vain. Meanwhile, Friede and Charizard chase the lone Magneton. Friede discerns, based on its movements, that it's not a wild Magneton. He then receives a call from Orla, who informs him that Dot has started the system reboot. The episode then cuts back to Liko and Murdoch, who did end up doing some shopping. Murdoch found several ingredients he wanted, though he could not find one, a so-called secret spicy spice. He apologizes to Liko since their trip did become a shopping trip, but she says that it's fine since the ice cream was good. She thanks him for the treat. As they walk, we see that Spinel's Behem is watching them. They soon run into Roy, who is trying to have Wattrel overcome its fear. Roy introduces Liko and Murdoch to Wattrel, and he reveals its plight and that he is helping it since it surely wants to fly with its friends. While Wattrel continues to be afraid, with encouragement from everyone, it finally takes a leap. This earns it praise and congratulations from everyone, which adorably makes it very happy. Meanwhile, Friede and Charizard chase Magneton all the way to Levincia, specifically to an alley that is a dead end. Behem soon appears behind them, revealing that this is an ambush. Using some sort of communication device, Spinel commands his Pokemon from a distance. Behem uses Dark Pulse, which Charizard avoids. Magneton then uses Sap Cannon. Charizard tries to counter with Flamethrower, but Behem stops it with Psychic, so it takes a direct hit from Sap Cannon. Unable to move, it then takes several Electro Balls. Behem then goes in for the final strike with Meteor Beam. To counter such a dire situation, Friede Terastalizes Charizard. Its Terra type is surprisingly dark. Definitely not what I was expecting. Since it is no longer fire flying, it takes the Meteor Beam no problem. It is also now immune to Psychic, which allows it to move. Charizard uses Terra Blast to defeat Behem. Friede goads Spinel into revealing himself, but his provocation fails. Spinel has his Pokemon retreat and he says to himself that he saw everything he needed to see. Friede and the Charizard head back to the airship. On the way, they run into Roy and the others, who are still trying to help Wattrel. Friede wonders what they are doing, and they fill him in on the situation back at the airship. He then avoids the question of what he was up to. Instead, he wonders about the system reboot. Dot says that it will likely take all night. Plus, she wants to check everything thoroughly to make sure there are no lingering issues. So Friede declares that they will depart when all of this is taken care of. Meanwhile, Roy wonders how he can help Wattrel. He soon gets an idea when he sees Ludlow, who was just fishing. The next day, Roy builds a safety harness for Wattrel, which he attaches to a fishing rod. He soon finds Wattrel so that he can put his idea to the test. Upon seeing what Roy has in mind, Wattrel decides to play along. Liko soon receives a message that the spice Murdoch wanted is on sale for a limited time. She decides to go buy it, since it will make Murdoch happy. While Wattrel is still afraid, it soon flaps its wings fast enough to generate electricity, which breaks the harness, and so it falls. But it manages to take flight, and a wind current allows it to reach and fly alongside its flock, which makes it and them very happy. Murdoch soon appears, saying that he saw everything. He congratulates Roy for successfully helping Wattrel, and he informs him that they are about to depart. So Roy bids farewell to Wattrel and he leaves with Murdoch. However, upon seeing Roy walk away, Wattrel decides to follow him. On their way back, Roy says that he should be happy for Wattrel, but clearly he is sad because he had to say goodbye. Murdoch soon points out that Wattrel is following them. This confuses Roy, since Wattrel should want to stay with its friends. But Murdoch gives him a Pokeball, saying that Wattrel obviously now wants to be his friend. A wind current soon knocks Wattrel down, but Roy catches him in midair before it falls all the way down. Roy and Fuecoco then lovingly and happily embrace their new friend. Meanwhile, Liko goes to where they are supposedly selling the spice, which turns out to be a dark alley with a dead end. Spinel soon appears, revealing that he lured Liko here. He pretends to be just an innocent passerby. His Behem soon appears, and it hypnotizes Liko and Sprigatito, which allows Spinel to steal the pendant without them realizing it. The episode ends with Spinel walking away with the pendant, while saying that this mission was child's play. So, that's the short but detailed summary of the episode. Now it's time to highlight, analyze, and comment on my favorite moments and or moments that are noteworthy/interesting. There is only one thing I wanted to see in this episode, that being Roy catching Wattrel. So I am of course extremely happy that I got exactly what I wanted. This was just awesome, and it reminded me of the excitement I felt whenever Ash caught a Pokemon, which is something that Horizons was definitely missing. That thrill, that joy of seeing a main character bond and befriend a Pokemon who then joins their team is just unparalleled. Liko and Roy getting their starters simply could not replicate this feeling, since we knew that they would get Sprigatito and Fuecoco respectively, who were also not really wild Pokemon. The way Roy got Wattrel is how you have a main character get a new Pokemon. I really cannot emphasize enough how happy this made me. It really brought me right back to the good old days. It felt like watching Ash get his first Pokemon in a new series all over again, which is simply a beautiful feeling. Extra points because Wattrel is the original bird of the current generation. There really is no better true first capture, except, well, a starter that is. I just love tradition, and they revived the one that was dead for 2 generations, which is just amazing. Plus, since Roy also has a starter, his team is off to the same start that Ash's team had several times. So Horizons is aping previous series. This is, at least for me, something worth praising and celebrating. Now, considering that Liko was introduced first and is clearly the main protagonist, it's a little unfair that Roy got another Pokemon before she did. But I am sure that she will get one soon enough, and the extra wait for it will just make it that much more magnificent when she does get one. Additionally, I just want to say that I already love Wattrel as a character. It's adorable, endearing, funny, brave, energetic, and scrappy. It's a great character that you cannot help but like and root for. Plus, it's a great fit for Roy, who has a lot of the same personality traits. Now, this episode had more going for it than just having Roy catch Wattrel. It was cool to see Friede Terastalize Charizard, especially since it used Terra Blast. It's disappointing that its Terra type is not Dragon, and I feel that it's way too convenient that its Terra type was just what it needed in the moment. But this does not take away from the excitement of seeing Terastal in the anime again. Finally, Spinel got to show just how evil he really is. Masterminding everything from the shadows, having his Pokemon do all the dirty work while he directs them from afar, how he isolated Liko and subsequently casually stole the pendant without giving himself away or having Liko realize what happened. Spinel has established himself as a nefarious, sneaky, and dastardly foe. Someone you can't help but want to hate, though he has just enough charisma to avoid being completely despicable. He is definitely a breath of fresh air as far as antagonists go for this anime, which is nice. I can't wait to see how the Rising Bolt tacklers deal with him. Hopefully, he is forced out of hiding and into a head-on confrontation. But those are my thoughts on and analysis of the episode. Now it's time to bring this review to a close by going over my overall opinion of the episode. So, overall, this episode was simply amazing. A lot of awesome things happened in it, which made it an exciting watch from start to finish. And better yet, despite having so much going on, it did not feel rushed. It definitely made up for how lackluster the previous episode was, and it makes me look forward to what's coming even more. But that's the review and the video. So, as always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this one right away. Additionally, down in the description, I have affiliate links for GameStop, which is where I buy all my gaming related stuff, affiliate links for Amazon, which is where I buy all my stuff that is not gaming related or groceries, and a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page. These links will all allow you to support me directly if you would like to. I would very much appreciate it. Also, I have a link to my second channel, where I cover Resident Evil. If this is something that would interest you, then please check said channel out. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.